Hello. Um, I don't know if it's been a long time for you or not, but I'm being very consistent. This is probably video 49, and I'm excited because we're reaching 50. I think the next goal for me was 60, and after that was something around 200, and then 1000. Super excited. I have one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 videos planned, and one note that I need to elaborate on, and I want to do them all today because I realized, I think over the past 3 days, that there's a lot of stuff that go through my mind that I would want to discuss and talk about specifically with myself. But the commitment to do them here on video has been changing things for me. Now, normally I write them down, but anything written in a weird way, because it's for me, it's not my responsibility towards something else. So anything written kind of like always has a more mellow time frame. So I have 3 stages of writing where I just like write an idea if it's interesting enough for me to think about. So the goal is to put it on the forefront of my mind. And probably the second stage, if I think of something again that I have actually thought of before, I write it down in a more detailed manner. And the third stage would be either like a full blown article where it's an actual blog discussion, or it's this video. But have like recently I started doing videos on words. So that is going to be like the essence of most of my articles in the future. An actual like articulate elaboration instead of just like throwing things on the outside of the words and what I mean by them and how I actually look at them. But going back to this video, and I already like chopped about 2 minutes of it. I think what I want to talk about is, let's just say, my current program. Um, Mid this month, September, October. We're in October now. Mid this month, we're starting the business analytics class. So I got the book in advance from the people. Like I made them promise if I register for this class, they give me the book in advance in order to read through it. And I read enough of it for me to kind of lose interest, which is wrong. But so my debate with myself is more how to allocate its time with the actual timelines that I have towards the other stuff. So that's something I think that we all kind of like maybe get into. I'm not sure. But like when we have a certain timeline, if it's just one thing you need to finish over a period of time, it becomes a lot easier. If you have to like kind of allocate more than one thing to finish because like there's a lot that's going on, then that is causing like some form of like I don't know if it's complication or like reluctance from my side is an easier word, or more like because the commitment is to start the course in 15 days. Like I read enough of the book to deplete that energy and go like, "Halas, I know enough for me to be better at the course." But I really want to finish the whole book. But the whole book is kind of like based on what the teacher teaches us. So we're not getting the book that they get to teach us. We're getting basically the material that we need to think about process from their teaching. So this course is it's an accreditation. It's not really like, hey man, we're gonna teach you the essentials or like the details of business analysis. But in parallel to that, I'm still programming my website. It's funny. I also like wrote a note that I promised somebody something that's directly related to my website. So that's something intense that I have to consider as well. That I have to like think about, or I don't know. It's something that I have to actually like process. Because to promise somebody something from like the work that you're doing really means that you need to be on top of your game. And the feeling that you're always kind of like neglecting something or missing something, especially when you're not actually able to build the website the way you see it because you're lacking. And I registered last month to a course, which I thought I'll finish the website the best way I know how, and then I take the course and refine it. I don't know if that turned out to be a bad idea or more it turned out to be an issue because The minute I became familiar with the stuff that I would want to do, I really need to get them out of my system first before I start working. And I think when I started working on the project again, especially the coding part, I realized that don't have that much knowledge when it comes to like the elements that are required for it to be like a refined project and a project that makes sense that I can deploy and people can use. So my goal, kind of like over the past weekend, the past 2 days, has shifted to okay, you have these 15 days. If you focus just on the course that you took and you kind of like go through everything in details while considering the website, because I built the structure, the like, not the pillars, the structure of the website. But if I finish this course, by the time I start taking classes in business, the business analytics classes, I'll be fully able to kind of like just do work because it's thinking is is a lot more than just taking information and processing it. I have to be competent enough in whatever it is I'm doing for it to happen naturally and not require energy from thoughts. How would I explain that? Well, it's simple. I really don't want to use riding a bike, but let's just say the first few times you do a push up or a pull up, it takes a lot of focus just to like actually move in that direction. But competence in that movement is basically what allows you to increase your repetitions. A better way to think about it is the hardest part for a tree is when it's still a seedling. Because once it establishes its initial roots and it's firmer on the ground, then any way it grows, it's fine because it has that multiple structures that interact with each other already set up. So I am back to the thought process where, like, instead of postponing this course, let me just get it over with right now. And I'll, at least in my mind, I'll have some stuff to revert to as I actually proceed with what I'm trying to do into the future. So the two goals I have for the next 15 days is finish the business book, which I think could be done easily. Like, all I have to do is like read it, brief through it once, which is where I got bored, and then go over it again just so I can actually like not necessarily just take notes, but actually like art highlight the things that I actually would be studying, and then at night when I'm doing nothing or when I'm chilling, I'll be able to like think of the concepts or just like go research them. And as for the coding parts, I still need, and I have an expression in Arabic, it's called badak fat khibz. And they say that to chicks because as chicks are young, they throw like random seeds and bread at them so they can bulk up. And I think that's basically how I need to consider the next 15 days when it comes to me coding the website because I'm getting really good at the stuff I know, but that's no longer what I want to do because the image I have of how the website is to be constructed, and I'm talking still like basic, I'm not talking like something super fancy. Like, my project is still not really the biggest project because like we have to enter the market in a simple way where it's not complicated for people. But at the very least, all the things that I could do in the future are based on what I do right now. So I really want to be competent enough to kind of build the experience that's cute, that's necessary, that's supportive of what I'm considering into the future. That's it. Also, I thought about something which is like I have been writing more, but it hasn't been something like the more I write, it's still electricity went off for a second. The more I write, the harder it becomes for me to articulate myself. And I really think it's because my initial writings are just whatever I have always been discussing and what's on the top of my head. So that as well is kind of taking some energy from my side in order for me to kind of like consider the things that I have to like, I don't know, the structure. Like even the YouTube videos, I started thinking of how I would structure them. So I started thinking every single video I have to write the cause for it. I have to write the action that I'm taking. And what's the point of making this video? There's the subject, there's the context, there's the intent, the goals, and the actions. And that would help specifically because that's what we're actually trying to integrate. Like, if I want to search for these videos, or if I want to reflect back on a video about something that I talked about, so that if I want to talk about it again, I don't necessarily like repeat the same thing, right? It's the whole point for us to, for me to kind of like create new stuff as I move forward, and this is basically to hold me accountable. So it's in a nice way. It's kind of like the things that I'm doing are demanding a more structured approach, which I think is what most people always discuss about like an easier way to do things. Because you kind of have to figure it out first, which is the hard part. But doing it stops becoming stops becoming hard. It becomes easy. Why? Because you kind of have a pattern that you follow. You kind of have a certain setup in your mind that chases certain steps in order to get something done, especially when it comes to these things. So a lot of it's been challenging. Also, this week specifically, when it comes to work, I made a different move, and with the work that I'm getting paid for. And I also like met somebody that I haven't seen in over 6 years. That but we've been friends for like 20, 25, I think, years. So I think that's definitely something worth talking about. And see you in the next video.